It's really hard to say where QML is limited because it can do so much. Just understand that QML is a language and it's designed to live in the graphical front end where the user actually interacts with it. So it's a GUI module. So anything non-GUI is really where QML is going to fall short. So if you're doing like a command line application, you're going to have problems trying to use QML. You can do it, you 100% can. It's just not really meant for that. Now, I should note that because it is a GUI module, well, you may be thinking you can do anything GUI. You'd be right, actually. That's why it's so hard to define what QML can do, because you can do almost anything from 2D graphics, plain text, all the way up to 3D animations. It's really hard to say where is it limited. One of the things that I feel QML really falls short on is it has the entire Qt ecosystem supporting it, but binding those C++ objects into QML can be a little daunting at first, and it's a little bit tricky. We are going to cover that in this course. I just wanted you to be aware that this can be a little bit challenging at first until you get the hang of it. So how do you really define where QML is limited? I mean, where does it run? Looking at Qt's website, you can see, well, they have a laptop. They have some sort of dashboard embedded thingy. And then they just have like a IDE. So it's hard to tell, where does this thing really run? And digging through the documentation isn't even very helpful. It just talks about QML. So you have to look at supported platforms. Whenever you see supported platforms, that's where you know QML will be fully supported. So diving through this, pretty much any desktop platform from Linux, multiple distributions, and I've even had it run on alternate distributions as well. Mac OS, Windows, Android, iOS, tvOS, watchOS, Universal Windows platform. There is Qt for WebAssembly. That's kind of integrating web and desktop together, vastly out of the scope of what this course really covers, but I wanted you to be aware. And then embedded platforms. And this is where QML really shines because there really isn't really anything else out there that does what this does on an embedded system. So a lot of people have a misconception that QML is only for embedded. No, QML goes anywhere Qt goes. So it can be a desktop, a cell phone, embedded device, for example. Raspberry Pi, I've used it a lot on a Raspberry Pi, and it's just beautiful the way it runs. So the question becomes, why would you use QML over Qt widgets? Qt widgets is only a desktop. And when I say desktop, we're talking specifically Linux, Mac, Windows. That's Qt widgets. QML, on the other hand, runs on all of these things. So you can just, build your app on Linux and it'll run on Mac, Windows, Android, iOS, and so on, and even on a Raspberry Pi. You will have to tweak it for the different interfaces and screen sizes and things like that. But if you use, good layouts and things of that nature, it will scale seamlessly. It's actually pretty amazing technology. So going back to what are the limitations of QML? It's really hard to say because it depends on your specific use case. Anything non-graphical, for example, a command line, is when you should not use QML. Anything graphical, my first go-to would be QML.